I'm Kay Ward, and this is my retelling of an old story. Lights shone brightly from the small farmhouse. The voices of children laughing came across the night air as the family made its way to the car. Large snowflakes fell as the car made its way down the narrow, snow-plowed driveway on the way to the small country church for the Christmas Eve service. A tall, lanky farmer stood in the doorway, shaking his head. Huh, anybody be crazy to start out in a blizzard? Well, he just used the time to enjoy a cup of coffee in the quiet of his old farmhouse. Suddenly, he was jolted out of his chair by a thud. Running to the window, he saw what had happened. A small sparrow had mistakenly tried to seek shelter in the warmth of the house and had crashed into the window. He could see the small bird lying in the snow. Birds had flown into the window before, and he had watched the stunned birds slowly regain their ability to fly. Tonight, however, the small bird lay perfectly still. He put on his big parka and headed toward the front of the house. Once there, he could see that this small bird wasn't a solitary traveler. Huddled in the small bushes by the house were several more sparrows, struggling to hold themselves fast to the branches. Looking around to make sure that no one was watching, he bent down and carefully picked up the bird in his mittened hand, and he made his way to the dimly lit barn. He laid the bird on a pile of clean hay and looked up into the corner of the hayloft. Gentle fluttering in the darkness told him that many small creatures had already found shelter, and he thought of those still out in the storm. He reached for an old lantern and lighted it. He headed out into the night again. He'd try to get those birds to safety, though it sounded foolish. But perhaps in the magic of Christmas Eve, they would understand and follow him. He started for the barn again, saying foolish things like, here, birdie, come with me, birdie. But not a bird moved to follow him. Back at the barn, he had another idea. He grabbed the sack of bird feed from just inside the door and hurried back to the window. He poured out a trail of seed leading to the barn. His hopes soared as a few of the more brave souls hopped down to grab a few seeds, but the trail was soon obliterated by the snow. He whispered, if only I could become one of them for just a moment or two, I could show them the way out of the storm. I could save them. The old man lifted himself from the mound of snow and started back to the house. Once inside, the old man stood before the fire warming himself when he felt a prayer beginning. It was a simple prayer, and it ended with thanks, for the car had turned into the driveway, bringing his family home safely. For God loved the world so much that God had come to the world to bring all people out of the storm. God had despaired of trying to save the world until God became a man and could show the way. This was the night of the birth of that God-man, Jesus Christ, born in a manger. Thank you, Holy God, for the people who lead us out of darkness, for warm cups of coffee on a cold night, for the love that shows us the way, and for your love that saves us. Amen.